Um, so, yay. Okay, so to begin with, we usually just introduce you and then we just get started. And Kyle's here. Kyle's my co-founder at Keep Calm.
Hi,
So,
Emily.
Nice
Nice
to
to
meet
see
you
you.
guys.
Thank you
Nice.
so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
oh, it looks like we have so much people in here. Well,
Hey.
nice, nice, nice. Okay, so we can just get started. And if you can just introduce yourself to us, Emily, and we'll
Yeah,
just get started. Thank you.
I also have a presentation. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Oh, absolutely. That'd be wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Let me.
Yeah, if you have the um, capability to share it, go ahead. But if I, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, I have so many screens up. This one. Can everyone see my screen?
I can see it, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I'm also going to pull up the chat here just to make sure I am seeing anybody that comments. And then we'll do this. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Emily Guerra. I am a certified productivity life coach, and I'm also a director of operations and operations strategist for several different organizations. So I know a thing or two about productivity, and I like to do a different approach to productivity, one that you probably haven't really thought of. And that's really what today is about. So, before I dive in, I just want to first say, let's all be proud of ourselves for showing up for ourselves this Saturday morning. I know it's Saturday, it's a weekend. We definitely do not have to be here focusing on our personal development, our professional development, but we are. So that's definitely something that we should all just kind of like pat ourselves on the back for and be very proud of ourselves for. So, this session today is really intended to be interactive, right? So I'm going to ask you questions throughout the my presentation, my slideshow, and I would love for you guys to throw your answers into the chat or come off mute, share. I come from a big, loud family, so I'm very used to it. So the more you interact, the more you'll truly get out of this, right? And that's my mission today, is to help you guys truly leave here feeling like you have actionable steps that you can practice starting today. So let me officially dive in and just kind of like set the stage, right? This conversation, it's not really about learning how to do more in less time. It's really more about doing what matters with more ease. That's what productivity should be. That's what balance should look like, right? And so, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you guys the first question that I would love everybody to throw their answer into the chat or come off mute and share. So, my question is, in one word, how do you guys want to feel at the end of your workday? Maybe it's accomplished, maybe it's energized, maybe it's at peace, proud, anything that comes to your mind.
I think
Mm.
it's happy for me.
Happy. Ooh, I love that. Happy.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah, for me, I think it's accomplished. Just I feel like I
Yeah.
never have enough time to do everything, but if I
Yep.
can get like the key things done and feel accomplished, that would be awesome.
Oh, totally. Right. The long, never ending to do list. If we could just get something off of it, love it. Thank you for sharing. And just a reminder for everyone else, throw your answers in the chat because we're going to come back to this question, right? It's going to be something that I want you guys to kind of keep in the back of your mind as we continue to go through our conversation today. So let me. I always love starting every kind of conversation about productivity off with really understanding the history of productivity, the evolution of productivity. It's something that we don't think about. And why would we, right? It's something that we're trying to strive for. It's not something that we're trying to analyze. And so that's my job. And that's what I'm here to tell you guys today. So it's so interesting when you actually look at how productivity came to be, especially the way that we look at it at it nowadays, right? Productivity, it really became a concept, became a thing during the agricultural era when farming was the number one job, when that was kind of what everyone did. And that makes sense, right? Because if you can get more crops than you did last year, you're more productive. If you can figure out how to put more crops in your same spot of land, you're more productive. So there's clear metrics, obvious measures, right? That makes sense. Okay, perfect. So let's now move along the timeline and let's go into the Industrial Revolution, the factory era. This is when assembly lines became a thing, right? So there's obvious metrics. Makes sense, right? If you can put more out than you did last time, you're more productive. Obvious metrics, obvious standards. Okay, great. Now let's move along into the 1950s-ish time. This is when knowledge work became a thing, when office work became a thing. So now, instead of measuring output the way that we were in the agricultural, farming, and factory eras, we're now measuring our brain. We're now measuring how much can I personally output, and if it's more than last time, it's more productive. But we started to treat ourselves like machines, right? We're still kind of stuck in that factory era productivity where if we get more done, then we're more productive. Yet we're not a factory. We're not machines. We're not an assembly line. We're humans. That's not how our brain functions. Yet that is how our culture and our society viewed productivity and therefore viewed success, right? And so we really got stuck in this idea in the office era. And now let's fast forward to today. We're really in a digital work era, right? Like most of us don't even go into the office full time. If we do, it's only hybrid half the time, most of the time, right? Like it's not the same as the 1950s office work kind of era. So we have totally different standards, a totally different way of working. Yet we are still trying to measure ourselves the way that we did in the agriculture and factory eras, like we are machines. The more we can get done, the better, right? I'm here to say that there is probably a better way to look at productivity, to do productivity, one that actually feels sustainable, one that actually feels more balanced, one that feels easy, dare I say, right? So knowing that we went from like cows to clock punches to now calendar invites, and we're still treating ourselves like machines, let's take a look at the actual definition of productivity. According to Britannica, all productivity is doing a lot. Just doing a lot, right? But is that true? Let's think about that. How often can we do a lot of the wrong things? And why do we have to do a lot to be productive? Can't we be productive in one thing at a time? Plus, how do we actually act productively? What does that look like? Is it simply just doing a lot no matter what it is? Busy work, things that don't actually move the needle? Is that truly productivity? So this is a definition that I find very disempowering, right? Because it keeps us stuck in the hustle culture, right? And this is how we act, isn't it? I mean, let's think about like just some of the phrases that we hear all of the time, like the grind, the hustle culture, I'll sleep when I'm dead, the 5 a.m. club, people just bragging about being busy. Like, what's the first thing someone will say when you ask, like, hey, how are you? Oh, I've been so busy. Like, it is just this norm that we have given into without questioning it, without wondering, is this how we have to be in order to be successful? It's really the story that we have been told and ingrained in, honestly. And when we do not take a second to slow down, when we're constantly in this race to be more productive, to get more done in less time, when we forget to be mindful, we will get overwhelmed. We will get anxious. We will get doubtful. We will wonder if we're capable of actually following through on our to-do list, of actually hitting our goals, right? And ultimately, we will burn ourselves out. There are actually very serious cognitive consequences to hustling, to viewing productivity in this way. And that is why so many of us feel burnt out. That is why we are seeing the highest rates of depression ever. That's why we're seeing the highest rates of burnout ever. I mean, I hear story after story of somebody landing in the hospital because they were so burnt out, they did not take care of themselves because they felt like they had to constantly keep going in order to be successful. That's not sustainable, right? That's not balanced. So we need to figure out some different ways to leave that burnout behind. And in order to do that, something that I always say, with my coaching clients, my one-on-one coaching clients, is awareness is power. You cannot change what you do not know, right? So I want to boost all of our awareness on how hustling, how viewing productivity in this way is actually leading to burnout. We're going to dive into a little bit of science now. This is honestly my favorite part. I love learning about the brain, learning about neuroscience. I find it so empowering because once you learn this stuff, you realize, oh, I've been working against myself for quite a while, but now that I have this information, now that I have this awareness, I can start working with myself instead of against myself. And that to me is the goal here, right? So let's get into the science. Let's understand, why is burnout happening? Why are we all burning out, right? Number one, when we are constantly going, not slowing down, feeling like we always have to be productive all of the time, we lead our brain into what is called the stress response. This is the fight, flight, or freeze part of our brain. And that is hosted in the amygdala, which is this. Oh, where'd my mouse go? There we go. Okay. Which is this little part right here, the amygdala, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. And so what is so important to know is that when you start feeling a little bit stressed out, this stress response is overtaking your entire brain. Once the amygdala is activated, your prefrontal cortex, which is this part of your brain right here, it's in charge of focus, of decision making, of creative problem solving. When the amygdala is activated, the prefrontal cortex goes offline. It cannot be activated at the same time as the amygdala, which means that when you're getting stressed out, when you're getting overwhelmed, when you feel too busy that you can't rest, that you're just constantly exhausted, your amygdala is probably in charge. And that means that you're probably stuck in this stress response. And doing so, being stuck here, leads to burnout, right? Because your nervous system is constantly hyper intense, right? And that is exhausting to the brain and body, not to mention everything else that you're doing with life, right? Add this on top of life, and oh my gosh, no wonder we're feeling this sense of heaviness almost, right? So that's big point number one to really understand. And the way that I kind of apply this in real life, right? Because it's cool. Okay, great. Knowledge, we got it. But how do we actually use that? So something I will do that maybe it's just because I'm a coach and I love the neuroscience part, but if I'm getting really stressed out or I'm getting really anxious, I will literally say to myself, like, oh, this is the amygdala. This is the amygdala overriding me right now. And I need my prefrontal cortex to come back online, right? And doing so kind of helps me pause, slow down, and tap into a lot of the mindfulness tools that I am going to share in just a moment. So, big, I guess, science point here is that when your prefrontal cortex is kind of shut down and your amygdala is activated, it is really challenging to like think your way out of the overwhelm, right? Because your decision maker, it's offline. So thinking, doing more, trying to get strategic in that moment, it's not going to work. And you've probably felt that, right? And so, what do you do instead? Well, typically, right now, we probably do a lot of more kind of stress habits, right? Like scrolling or snacking or staying up late or trying to escape somehow, escape the overwhelm, right? Or maybe our mood changes. Or maybe we start getting snappy, or maybe we start shutting down, or maybe we start trying to overwork in order to try to solve a problem, even though we're just running in circles, right? So let's all take a moment and kind of think about this. When we get stressed out, what is our initial response? What's our stress habit? I know for me, it definitely used to be scrolling. I used to grab my phone and just open TikTok and try to hope for a laugh when I was in that mode, right? And that was not helpful at all. So that was like one of my things. Another one for me, I would turn on Netflix and just want to binge.
Mm.
Like that, it was totally my stress habit for the longest time. So I would love people to come off mute, share, throw their answers in the chat. What's your stress habit?
Yeah, Emily, I have a similar stress habit
Yeah.
compared to you. So unfortunately, I feel for me it's not very useful with my time, especially like when a few you like a few scrolls turns into hours,
Yep.
or a few one episode turns into many episodes. Now you want to get through the entire series.
Yep. Totally. They always leave you on cliffhangers. It's so hard to stop it.
Also, I did put in the chat of how to turn the amygdala off. I've been trying to combat it is like using supplements, ashwagandha, or other like vitamins. But I do get stressed sometimes a little bit when I'm in the trenches of my work. I get a lack of focus, maybe
Hmm.
sometimes cloudiness,
Hmm.
and because of also a lack of energy, um, I put band-aids on that, which is okay, I have to now consume more caffeine
Yeah.
to sustain my energy. You know that leads to my lack of sleep at night now,
Mm.
Yep.
or anyways, there's a lot of things that I experience, and I just would like your knowledge or figure out ways to really um, improve myself.
I love that you asked that. Thank you so much. And I also really appreciate your transparency because I definitely see myself in pretty much everything you just said. And I'm sure a lot of people here agree with that. Everything that you just asked, I do have answers for in my future slides. So hold your questions, hold that thought. If my slides don't answer your question, come back to me at the end and we'll totally dive into it more. Thank you. Appreciate it, Joshua.
I was just
Anyone
going to
else? Yeah.
say, I feel like your entire presentation so far is speaking directly to me.
Yeah.
I definitely get stressed often, and I can't wait to hear some of your tips and tricks around being more productive. I
Yeah.
also feel like we're in the digital era, but moving towards AI being a part of our digital era, and so
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to lean into that to be more productive, not just doing things, but again, being accomplished in the things that I do. My go-tos are um, there one's healthy, one's not healthy. First thing I do is just I look for like chocolate. I'll just like eat whatever is chocolate in the house. And then secondly, I feel very guilty about all the chocolate, and then I just hit the gym really hard, try and burn it all off.
The gym is definitely good, and I feel you on the chocolate. That's like my go-to
Yeah.
sweet tree, incentive tree. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And yes, we'll definitely dive into more ways like how to actually boost your productivity, manage your energy, feel like you have more control of your time throughout the workday. So that way you also have energy for life after work, right? Like we do not live to work. we work to live,
Mhm.
right? And remembering that and figuring out ways to actually do that is exactly what we're about to dive into. So thank you.
Awesome.
Right. So mine is more so like a statement or question,
Yeah.
but like I've gotten to understand what stresses me out.
Mm.
And so it's usually like just my work and having to like go in person. And I have recently been like, I had to like, our manager, she resigned. So I had to like take over this meeting. And obviously, like I work in tech, I'm a cybersecurity analyst. So when we're in the room, it's a lot happening
Mhm.
because I'm taking it so much information. But then I've done it for so long, I think it shrunk something in my mind. So when I'm stressed, I don't want people to see it. So
Yeah.
I kind of tame it. Like I could be sitting down and shaking, and also I tend to consume other people's emotions.
Yeah.
So I could just be sitting there, and I can sense the person next to me is anxious, and I don't want them to know. So it stresses me out some more.
Right.
Slowly but surely, it shrinks. I don't know what's happening, but I'm like completely checked out. But I've managed to just understand my work to be able to deliver. So I'm not sure if my frontal lobe is working, but I know what to do to not look as if I'm not aware in the room. So,
Yeah.
and it happens every time, and this is every week on Thursdays. So I've been trying to find the best way to help me not um, keep doing that, and it's gotten a lot better, only because I think the people in the room, they've kind of understood, oh, I'm just going to always be quiet and they're not going to force me to speak
Mm.
outside of
Mhm.
the work I have to do. They usually would just try and say, oh, like try to make something funny, but my brain is not there at all. Like I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that has lessened, but still every time I'm going in that room, like the stress starts, and I'm just
Yeah.
preparing myself, okay, this is what I need to do, this that way like we have things done.
Totally. So it's almost as if, like, at this point, it kind of feels a little expected, right? Like your brain knows that on Thursdays, when this meeting comes, like it is time to get stressed,
Yes.
right? And it is time to like clamp up, get that anxiety. And then later, I have a question. Later on, after that meeting, later in the day, what does your body feel like? What do you feel like? Do you still feel that intensity of the stress? Has it kind of subsided? Have you maybe breathed through it? Walk me through what's it's like after that.
So usually I have to run outside the room. I have to run, like literally, not like actually run, but more so like
Yeah. Hustle.
before I have to like check everyone's emotion to see if they're like, because before they just felt like I didn't want to be around them, but
Ah,
it's more so like in my mind I'm just dealing with something. So I would like babysit the emotions, just say bye, just talk to people, make them comfortable before I literally run. And I work at a university, so it's easy for me to go on the campus. I would go on the track field, just watch athletes do things, clear my
uh,
mind, or interact with like someone I know on campus that makes my nervous system feel good. But yesterday was
okay.
Thursday, right? So with yesterday, I think slowly but surely my mind has been so exhausted, it stopped caring to babysit the feelings. And like I literally got up and I walked away, but I was expecting some backlash. So
Ah,
yeah.
okay. So you commented two cool things that you do to kind of calm down your nervous system after the fact. And I'm wondering if maybe it could be done before the fact to help you calm down your nervous system before you enter the meeting, right? Whether it's talk to somebody who you feel really comfortable with, go to the track field and watch the athletes do their thing, maybe like run around once or twice and get your nerves out a little bit too. You know what I mean? Just because now that you know that those activities help your stress response calm down, let's use that. Let's make sure that we're doing that before the stress response even gets activated, more so, right? Than it can. What do you think of that?
I'm trying to like map it because my meeting's at 2 p.m. And before that, I don't really have much. And that meeting, I'm expected to be in person. And I've
Yeah.
tried so much to just have it over Zoom, but it's something they just, well, I have to go in person to stream it off of Zoom. So whoever decides to come in person, I have
Yeah.
to be in the room. So on my way to that's why I take the bus actually, because I'm like, well, you just never know. You might meet someone in the bus that's just gonna have a nice conversation, clear my mind. But it
Yeah.
rarely happens. I just talk to like the bus driver, and sometimes they're not very nice. So I
That's
just like
fair.
I go to the back, and then the bus stops at a place where it allows me to walk, but that walk is not enough. So
Okay.
then I
Yeah.
go to my office just like sitting there waiting for the time. It's like I'm not preparing myself to be stressed out. So I think maybe I should stop doing that and give myself more time to I'm actually stressed out just talking about
I
it.
can tell. So I honestly have a feeling that some of the mindfulness tools I'm going to share will also really help you in those moments right before you go into the meeting. So I'm going to move along and we're going to come back to this because I do think that it's hitting exactly where you need, right? So hold your thought and let me move along. Thank you so much for sharing. Also, I really appreciate it. So I think what is really important to understand as we're talking about our stress response, and when the reason I wanted you guys to kind of think about what is my stress habit, what does that look like? Because again, awareness is power. So now that you know that, now that you can see like, oh, when I go and grab the chocolate, or when I want to just binge that TV, or when I'm about to play another episode, right? It's in those moments when you got to be like, you know what? My amygdala is really activated right now. I need to really make sure that my prefrontal cortex is coming back online, right? And so, how do we do that? Right? And something that I love, that a concept that I love is slow down to speed up. This is a concept that actually Professor Cal Newport from Georgetown, he wrote this book, Slow Productivity. He also wrote Deep Work. He's like a spearhead in the productivity world, really slowing down productivity, right? All what I'm all about. And so he created this concept, slow down to speed up, right? Kind of sounds a little counterintuitive, except for when you learn a little bit more of the science. And so, something that is so important to understand, especially during the workday, is that our brain follows what is called an ultraradian rhythm. That's a fancy term. That just means our brain can only focus for 90 minutes. After 90 minutes, we need a break. We need to calm down our screen usage. We need to get a little bit mindful, maybe move our body somehow, and then we can get back into it, right? We don't need a 30-minute break. We just need a couple of minutes in between these 90-minute cycles. That's how our brain is wired, right? We can't argue that. That's just a fact. That's just science. So now that we know that, we can start kind of looking at our calendar and looking at our day and planning our day in 90-minute cycles, right? And making sure that we're taking those breaks in between 90 minutes and slowing down to speed up. Because what happens when we don't take those breaks, when we try to push, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, just trying to focus all at once without really taking a second to slow down, that's when the stress response happens. That's when the amygdala starts overtaking your prefrontal cortex. So let's avoid that, right? By shifting out of stress mode and back into clarity mode by honestly just slowing down. And a good way to think about it, the tortoise and the hare. We all know that story, right? Let me ask you this. Who won? The tortoise, not the hare, not the one who was trying to hustle, speed up, and then burnt out, crashed, and then tried to rally again. He didn't win. The tortoise won, the one who was slow, the one who took its time, the one who actually made a consistent effort along the way, right? That's who won. So be the tortoise. Make sure that you understand the 90-minute cycle and that you weave that into your calendar, right? So let me talk about two of my favorite mindfulness tools. that I use personally, and then I encourage all of my coaching clients to use in between these 90-minute cycles, right? How do you actually take that little break after your 90 minutes? My favorite one, because I find that it really activates the calming part of our nervous system, is a body scan. Maybe we don't know what a body scan is. In fact, let's just all do a body scan together right now, actually. So that way we know what it is and we can literally use it on Monday after our first 90-minute cycle, right? So if everybody could actually just stand up or sit up nice and tall, roll your shoulders, get them nice and loose, and then just let them fall, right? Make sure your feet are planted on the ground. You can have your hands on your thighs. We're going to take a deep breath in and out, in and out. As we breathe out, close your eyes, right? So now we can really start feeling our body, paying attention to our body. I'm going to guide us to scan our body as if we're in an X-ray machine. And we're going to start at the top of our head and we're going to end at our toes. So starting at the top of your head, just as if there was a light going down your forehead, going down the back of your head, your eyebrows, eyes, nose, cheeks, jaw. Don't try to change anything. Just notice. Notice how it feels. Notice how your neck feels. Notice how your shoulders feel. Notice if there's any tension in your chest, in your back, any pain maybe. Or maybe things feel good as you work down your stomach, your lower back. Notice how you're sitting as you move down to your hips, into your thighs. Feel the weight of your body on your chair, on your couch. Pay attention to how your arms feel and your fingers. Keep working down. Now we're at the knees. Just noticing, not trying to change a thing. Reconnecting our mind and body as we continue down now through the calves, towards the ankles. Feeling the pressure of our feet on the floor as we now go towards the toes. Now do a nice little wiggle of your toes and your fingers. Take a big deep breath in, and as you breathe out, open your eyes. Notice how much calmer we feel, right? I can just sense it.
Calm. I love it.
So calm. By the way, that took 1 minute. Just 1 minute. That was it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is something that you can guide yourself through. There's a lot of YouTube videos that can guide you through it. I personally love the Headspace app, right? So that kind of practice that really yes, your emotions being regulated. That is quite literally what we're doing when we calm down the amygdala and reactivate the prefrontal cortex, because the prefrontal cortex is what helps us regulate our emotions, make those kind of creative problem solving and those decisions. So I love that you brought that up, because that is exactly what we're trying to do here, right?
And it's so visible how I went from doing this to like doing this and like just
Yep.
Smiling. Yeah.
Totally. So maybe doing this right before that Thursday call can really help calm down your nervous system. And honestly, doing it once or twice in moments of anxiety, I will literally do that for like 10 minutes just straight, because sometimes you just really need it, right? And that's okay. Reading your body, paying attention to your body is part of productivity, a part that we don't think of, but it's such an important part, right? So that's one mindfulness tool that works wonders. Another is box breathing. And box breathing is when you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds. So you kind of create a box, right? And it's 4 seconds, just like 4 sides of a box. So that's another strategy that calms down the amygdala, reactivates the prefrontal cortex. This is something that you can literally do in between tasks, right? And I love doing box breathing in between a task. I'll do it like 2 to 3 rounds, takes maybe 30 seconds. And yeah, I love that you said that. You can't stop smiling. Good. That's exactly what we're trying to get to, right? So these are 2 mindfulness tools that I think work wonders. Let's dive into some more though. We already talked about the body scan and box breathing, and I just kind of hinted at this. Oh, and my Zoom agrees. It did that thumbs up for me. And I just hinted at the transition pause, right? So when you are transitioning in between tasks, what we typically do right now that's causing burnout, that's causing the stress response is we jump. We go from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another without. Let me breathe. Let me slow down and let me make sure that my brain can catch up with me. Because our brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Multitasking is a myth. Monotasking, when you do one thing at a time, that's true productivity. So help yourself by doing box breathing or a body scan or just one big solid deep breath or close your eyes for 5 seconds. Do something to transition in between your tasks and your meetings, right? Another thing, affirmations. These are really mindset reminders that can work wonders during the day, especially when you start getting in your head, right? And so good affirmations that I personally say to myself when I start kind of freaking out about something is like, hey, I could do one thing at a time, and that's enough. That's okay. That's in fact productive, right? Or I don't have to rush to do this well. I really don't, right? Another one, gratitude check. We so often look at all of the things we still have left unchecked on our to-do list, all of the things that we still have to do without taking into account the progress that we've made. So during your lunch hour, write down one win so far. At the end of your day, write down another win. Or maybe write down something that happened to you that day that you're grateful for, right? Checking our gratitude is one of the biggest happiness boosters. It really is. There are ample scientific studies that prove this. So write down 1 to 2 things a day about what you are grateful for, about the wins in your day, the progress you've made, and you will notice that you're more motivated, that you're more willing to get into things, right? And that is very key for hitting our goals, for moving forward, for finding that balance that we crave. So, which one of these activities are you going to try on Monday? Love the gratitude check? Yes, me too. I practice that daily. It's awesome. What other ones are people kind of drawn to?
Yeah, that one for me, I think I'll do it on my phone. I'll just keep it in notes because I think it'll be a good reminder too, maybe at the
Yeah.
end of the week to just scroll back and go like, oh yeah, I did get a lot done. I do feel accomplished.
Oh, I love that. That's a great idea. Box breathing for sure. Yes. Okay, cool. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep us going. Affirmations, totally. Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, so one of the things that I would be remiss if I did not talk about it, because we're talking about productivity here, and one of the first things that we always think of, management, right? And so a secret, I should say, that I find to be the biggest game changer in people's time management is not necessarily learning more time management strategies. It's actually learning more energy management strategies. Because let's think about this. Time, it's fixed. You got 24 hours. That's never changing. Energy is renewable, right? And let's also think about this. How many times have you looked at your calendar and you're like, oh, I have this scheduled for right now. I do not have the energy to do this. I am not going to do it. Maybe tomorrow we'll figure it out. And then guess what? That's the thing that ends up on your to-do list for like a month and you never get to it. That's because you didn't have the energy. You maybe had the time, but you didn't have the energy. So I find that the real secret to time management is actually energy management. And the way that you learn how to manage your energy is by first understanding your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is just your 24-hour internal clock that we all have, right? We all have one, just how we all have an ultradian rhythm, that 90-minute cycle that we just talked about. So, how do you find out what your circadian rhythm is, right? There are 4 chronotypes that each one of us falls under one of these, right? And that's this picture here on the slide. So the first chronotype is a bear. And this is when you really typically have high energy and can focus in the late morning, early afternoon. The second chronotype is wolf. And this is when you are more of a evening person. That's when your energy, your creativity is really heightened in the evenings. And then we have lion. This is more morning people, right? Like kind of the early birds that phrase that we know so well. Morning focus, morning energy. And then dolphin, which is really more afternoon, early evening kind of energy. So each one of us falls into one of these categories. I know for me, I have the most energy in the mornings, right? I am definitely a lion. Once it hits like 3 p.m., I'm like, nope, just not happening. It's not. I'll do admin work. I'll do meetings. I'll do like, calmer work, but not anything intense, right? So we have Wolf in the chat. Okay, does anyone else kind of know their chronotype, or just looking at this picture, maybe they can be like, yeah, maybe I'm more of a dolphin, or I'm also a lion, I think, right? This also might need to be your homework. Maybe you need to start paying attention a little bit more to your energy fluctuations, right? Exactly. So more of an owl for sure. Like the night owl. I love that. So this could be homework that you need to pay attention to. Now, if you are a woman, I strongly suggest that you pay attention to your energy flow and rhythm throughout the entire month, not just day, because it really does change throughout the month, right? So pay attention to that. So once you kind of realize when your highest energy times are, Lydia's a lion, twin, love it, perfect. 2 p.m. Thursdays trained. Yes, exactly. Right. So having this awareness, learning all of this about yourself and being able to pinpoint your high energy, high productive times, and also your low energy, low productive times, then you can really start over time, slowly. Do not overhaul your entire routine at once, but over time, you can really start aligning your calendar, your events, your activities, your tasks with your energy. And that will make time management so much easier. That will make following through so much easier, right? And so when you can focus the high energy times to your like deep work, what do you do during the low energy times? What do you do during those slumps, right? And when you have a morning slump, I find, and research has proven, that one of the best things that you can do is move your body for 2 minutes, like kind of intense 2 minutes, and then get some protein. That will truly help your energy in the mornings. If you are not a morning person, you do that, it will boost your mood. For the afternoons, step outside, change your environment, and get rid of screens for at least 20 minutes, right? For me, since my afternoons are truly my slump, at 2:30 sharp every single day, I go and I step outside with my dog and we take a nice 30-minute walk, rain or sunshine, right? That is my anchor during the afternoons. And then I never have my computer or my phone on me during lunch. I really want to practice mindful eating because doing so boosts my energy. Now, evening slump. Honestly, a power nap, game changer. Naps are not saved just for kids. We are allowed to do a 10-minute, 20-minute power nap. And sitting up and doing a power nap like on the couch, honestly, is so good for the brain. So try that out if evenings are really when you do slump, or you can always practice or utilize some focus music. Again, YouTube, right? I personally love the Headspace app, but everybody has their own preference. So you got to test this out a little bit, right? And see what works best with your energy and your rhythm. And ultimately, these breaks, they're not a waste of time. These breaks are how you end the workday with gas in your tank, right? That is so important. So I am going to now also just realize we're a little over time. So thank you for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. But this is the last slide. And I just want to say that productivity really, it's not about doing more. It's not. That is the archaic way of viewing productivity. We're in the modern era, right? We don't need to listen to the archaic way of doing it anymore. We are allowed to redefine it. We're allowed to have a completely different approach to it. And we're allowed to take the time to figure out what our rhythm truly is, what our energy looks like, what mindfulness tools really help us feel that sense of balance and control throughout the day, right? Because it's the small moments that create sustainable change, that create genuine balance. And today, I hope that I was able to give you some tricks and tools up your sleeve so that way you can truly go on Monday and implement a lot of what you learned today and keep it going from there on out. And if you're ever interested in getting a little bit more one-on-one help, I actually have a free productivity alignment session where I give you a quick little survey, and then you basically join me for a free 30-minute call, and we'll get into a little bit of an action plan for yourself. So that way you can leave that call knowing exactly what your next steps should be. Right? So scan that QR code if you are interested in joining me for an alignment session. It is free and it's 30 minutes long. And then also, if you wanted to sign up for thank you for putting it in the chat. I appreciate that so much. And then if you wanted to sign up for my emails, let me know by emailing me here. I totally forgot to make a QR code for that too. So just shoot me an email and I will make sure that you are signed up. Any questions? Anything that I can answer before we hop off? I know we're over time, so if you need to leave, I totally understand.
I mean, I can't thank you enough. Like I've picked up already several things from this that I'm definitely gonna use. I'm also gonna send this out to like all my friends. Like I think
Yeah.
everyone could really use this, and how awesome that you do a session for free with people to get them going. So really, I'm just super grateful. I just wanted to thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same here. As you can tell, I was like, this is how I cope when I'm stressed out because I
I
know
get
something
it.
here is like not okay. So yeah, I think you've really helped me with that.
Good.
So just kind of like when I'm in the room and I'm feeling that tense, I usually don't do this in the room because I know they're
Yeah,
gonna actually freak out and make it
totally.
for me. Yeah. So I just tense and my stomach just holds itself. So now I'm just gonna tell it, hey, it's just this thing right here.
Yeah,
Right?
that's it.
Yeah.
It's truly the amygdala. It's not you, right? Like, I think that is one of the biggest things I really want to hone in on. It's science. It's its brain protecting you. It's a survival mechanism. It's not your identity, right? It's not who you are in your soul. That's not it. It really is the amygdala, it's science overtaking. And sometimes we just need to take back control. We need to redirect the science and say, hey, I'm in charge here, not you. Right. And that's what these tools are really all about. So thank you so much. I'm so glad they helped. And honestly, I have a lot more tools like in my blog for free. So check that out too if you're interested, because I do think that there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of help calm down that amygdala in the moment.
Okay. Can we also share some of your tools with the community?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. I'll reach out. It would be very helpful too.
Perfect. Yeah, let's collaborate and figure something out. That's amazing.
Wonderful.
I will.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get this out on YouTube and other places as well and help spread the word. I think this is going to be a game changer for certainly for myself, but for a lot of people in their network. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being interactive, chatting with me, throwing your answers. I so appreciate it. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Asif. Thank you, Diana, everybody. Joshua, really appreciate it.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.
Okay.
See ya.